What's up, everyone? It's time for the digital huddle today, and man, I am excited. There's so many great things happening here at GC, and so please watch this whole video because I think we have some real big things to talk about. So before we get into the power of moments and talk about building a moment in someone's life, I want to give you some housekeeping things. Can I do that? So, because there's so many things coming up. As you know, we have this month, we have the fall block party. It's happening on October the 25th. Make sure you go to generationchurch.com/events and sign up to serve, be a part of it. It takes a lot of people to pull off, and this year is going to be a really special one, a really great one. And so many people come to the block party. They bring their families to the block party because they want to go to something that's family friendly, and they just kind of show up to those things. They have a good time, and what happens is people are so loving and kind and sharing the love of Christ with them that they think, man, you know what? We should go back and try it on a Sunday sometime. And so many people will wander into our building because their first step was through the block party. And so make sure you sign up because you just never know what God's gonna do through you at a bounce house or at a ride or a food truck or whatever it is. God can use you anywhere, and I have a feeling he's going to use you in a mighty way at this block party. So make sure you sign up, be a part of it. It's a really special time. I think it's really special whenever I'm serving at an event and I get the opportunity to see what God is doing in someone else's life and see how God can use me in that moment. Those are the moments, those are the powerful moments that I take away and carry with me for so long. So make sure you're part of it, the block party. But listen, I want to give you a few other dates to mark on your calendar to be aware of because there's a lot coming up here. The next one is this November the 9th. It is a Saturday. Listen, November the 9th, we are doing our first annual food packing outreach. Now, you're going to hear a lot more about this and what it actually means and the details and all these things, but I will tell you right now that November the 9th, we are going to pack 60,000. Did you hear that? I said that correct. You can rewind and hear it again, but I'll tell you right now, 60,000 meals we will pack that day as an outreach. It takes a couple hundred people to pull this thing off, and we're partnering with another organization that does this professionally year after year, and talk about an impact to a group of people. Sign up, be ready, because we're going to be talking about it very soon. And so just mark your calendar that you are busy on November the 9th. And then the next thing is this December the 6th. I want you to mark this as well because December the 6th is the Dream Team Banquet. The Dream Team Banquet, if you've been before, you know it's awesome. We all dress up in fancy clothes and have a great time celebrating what God has done over the course of the year. We give away some trophies called the GOATs, the greatest of all time, and we highlight some people on our team, but we also talk about how God has worked through all the different teams and all the different people to make a huge impact in our community, and we celebrate it. And we have a jazz band that's there, and I can go ahead and tell you, if you were at last year's, you guys loved him so much, so we're bringing him back. The Paella Man will be back. So mark your calendars for the night of December the 6th. That's a Friday night where we will have the Dream Team Banquet, and we will have the best time ever hanging out as a dream team. So I want you to be there. Make it a priority to be a part of the family, the team, the good, fun time that we're going to have. And so listen, now let's talk about the power of moments, because we've been in this book, The Power of Moments. It's a special book that I've read a few times and taught here and there for different groups of people and different staffs, and we're taking our staff through it here at GC as well. And I wanted to share it with you throughout all of this time. And so we've been going like piece by piece, not chapter by chapter, just piece by piece. And today I'm going to be looking at something that is in the third chapter, and I think it's so important. It's talking about how to build peaks. And there's a few ways you could build a peak in someone's life. And we talked about how a lot of times you walk away from a situation with peaks and pits that you hold on to. All the average things over time you kind of let go of in your mind. Psychologically, you just kind of like empty that part of it, but those peaks and pits you'll hold on to. You'll refer back to those. You'll remember those things. And so we've been talking about how do you create some peaks in people's lives, and how do you fill pits, and how do you handle these things, and how do you balance these things. And we've talked a lot about how to create moments in someone's life. And there's a few ways, and there's 3 ways. If you want to write this down, as you know, I believe that note takers are history makers, right? So go ahead and write this down. There's 3 ways that you can build a peak in any moment. And this can go for our dream team here. I'm going to give you some examples in just a second of how I do this here at the church. And there's also ways that you could do this in your family. There's ways you could do this at your job. And there's so many ways that you can build a peak. And so the first one is this: you could build a peak by boosting the sensory appeal. Boosting the sensory appeal. That's the first one. That's the first way to build a peak. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that one in a second. The second one is this: you could raise the stakes. You could raise the stakes. You could bring it to a level that it hasn't been before. You could build a peak moment by raising the stakes. And the third one is this: you can break the script. You can break the script. And sometimes you can do like a little bit of, you can piece together a few of these. You don't have to just stick to just one. And so I want to show you how we do this. And for instance, let's talk about breaking the script, and also we could talk about boosting sensory appeal in this as well. I guess you could also say that this example I'm going to give you would raise the stakes also. But whenever I moved here, and began here at GC, one of the lowest attended Sundays that we had, if you looked at just historical numbers, one of the lower attended Sundays was the second Sunday in February. Can you guess what that is? Second Sunday in February, attendance would always go down. It's because it was Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday. Historically, at a lot of churches, that's a day where attendance goes down. But I wanted to try a trick that we tried over in Mississippi, because here's the thing, is that the Super Bowl doesn't start in the morning. What happens is we make plans as families and stuff like that to go Super Bowl parties and all these things, and then we start looking at the day and we get a little overwhelmed. They're like, I gotta make deviled eggs and all these things and the wings, and we just feel like, I just got too much on me to go to church too. And we don't go to church, we don't spend time in God's house with God's people, and we prioritize, in a sense, the Super Bowl over God's house and what God is doing in our life. And not a great thing, right? Like when you really take a step back and you look at it that way, you're like, a little bit of a cringe moment, right? But what if you can create a moment? The power of a moment. And so we created a Jersey Sunday in Mississippi, and when I came here, I suggested we do a Jersey Sunday. And so we tried it just to see how it would work. And what the plan is to make the Sunday morning be a part of your annual Super Bowl experience. What if you wore your favorite jersey? What if there was bounce houses? What if there was fun? What if we did something that broke the script? See, we do the normal Sunday services, but what if we did something that broke the script and was out of the norm, and all of a sudden it's a different type of Sunday, right? It's a Sunday where we're talking about football and we're having fun with all these extra things. We break the script, we raise the stakes, and we boost your sensory appeal, don't we? And what happened is year one, we saw a little bit of a boost. Like some people came to it and they had a good time. They're taking pictures and all these things. And they had such a good time that year two, we saw the second Sunday of February be a peak Sunday. The attendance went up. It was above the other Sundays because now all of a sudden people prioritize this part of their day. They still got to go to the Super Bowl. They still got to do all these things, but we created a peak moment. We built a peak moment because we changed the sensory appeal. We raised the stakes. We broke the script. Today, my kids are out of school, and I'm filming this on a Thursday. My kids are out of school, and so we could very well go through and do what we would normally do on a day off, but instead my wife decided to change things up, create a peak moment. What did they do? Well, she had already looked up how to build your own slime at the house, and she had some other crafts that they were going to do, and so they go home and they create slime and do these things and all this stuff. And I can tell you right now, when I get home from work today, what's going to happen is they're going to be just chatty, right? They're going to be telling me all about these things that they did with mom throughout the day. Why? Because she chose to intentionally create a peak moment. She could have easily gone along and had the normal day, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's not a right or wrong here, but what she did was she planned to create a peak moment. So my question to you is, what are you going to do to create peaks? Now, if you had peaks all the time, it wouldn't be a peak anymore, right? Like if I had bounce houses and Jersey Sunday every Sunday, now it's no longer a peak. It's just the standard. It's what we expect. But if I'm going to go to this extraordinary level, I need to break the script. I need to add sensory appeal. I need to raise the stakes. I have to do something different than what I normally do. But I do have to have a script. Do you hear that? You have to have a script in order to break it. We have to have consistency on Sunday here at GC. We have to have consistency on our teams. We have to have consistency when we're doing things. We have to have a script. And if that's the case, if we have a script, then what we can do is go one step further and we can break it and give people experience that they weren't maybe expecting. And all of a sudden it becomes a peak moment in their mind. They want to come back to that place. And so, listen, I love you guys. I can't wait to see you again this Sunday. We have so many great things coming up here at GC. I'll see you soon.